Diabetes mellitus. I hope many are aware of this disease. Diabetes mellitus is a lifestyle-based disease which is characterized by high level of sugar. November 14th is considered as World Diabetes Day. This map shows the number of people with diabetes worldwide in 2019, 30 and 45 respectively. This map shows a striking increase in the percentage of people affected with diabetes. Europe shows the minimal increase of 15%. In Southeast Asia, mainly which consists of India, 74% increase is proposed. Middle East and North Africa would record a percentage of 96. The highest increase is proposed in Africa, which accounts for 143%, and overall in the world, it accounts for 51% increase. Global diabetes estimates and projections, as per the report, says in 2045 there would be a total world population of 9.5 billion and an adult population of 6.4 billion. Global prevalence would be increasing from 9.3%, which is present in 2019, to 10.9%. This map shows the total number of adults from 20 to 79 years with diabetes in 2019, and if you see the map clearly, India is recorded under more than or equal to 20 million people who are affected with this diabetes condition. To go into detail about the diabetes mellitus is a chronic condition which is characterized by raised blood glucose levels, which is also called as hyperglycemia. This occurs due to improper regulation of plasma glucose level. Glucose level is regulated by the action of a particular organ called pancreas. Pancreas consists of both exocrine and endocrine function. The exocrine function produces lots of enzymes which helps in digestion. The endocrine part of pancreas consists of islets of Langerhans, which consists of different groups of cells like delta cell, alpha cell and beta cell. Of these cells, alpha cell and beta cell play a major role in controlling the level of glucose in the blood. The hormone glucagon, which is produced by alpha cells, increases the blood sugar level when the blood sugar level drops, and the product of beta cell, that is insulin, will decrease the blood sugar level when the blood sugar level is very high. This effect is explained in the following picture. So this is the way how insulin and glucagon acts on the level of blood sugar. Both of them show antagonistic effect. Insulin is produced in large amount when high blood sugar is observed. So the insulin that is produced promotes the glycogen synthesis, which is converting the blood sugar into storable glycogen form, which is stored in the liver. When blood glucose level drops, glucagon is produced from alpha cells, which promotes the glycogen breakdown, thereby increasing the flow of glucose into the blood. This balance between insulin and glucagon is very important for normal functioning of the body. This is the structure of insulin protein, which is going to regulate the carbohydrate. It consists of two chains, chain A and chain B. Both the chains are interconnected by the presence of disulfide bridges. Overall, the molecule has three disulfide bridges. Two are interchain disulfide bridges and one is intrachain disulfide bridge. When this molecule is mutated and you have an abnormal insulin, it again interferes with the glucose level in the blood. The total amount of insulin secreted also regulates the level of glucose in the blood. Coming to the classification of diabetes, there are four types of diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is because of beta cell destruction. When beta cells of islets of Langerhans of pancreas is destroyed, the amount of insulin produced is low, and this leads to abnormal glucose level in the blood. The type 2 diabetes is because of progressive insulin secretory defect, and in this type 2 diabetes is more related to change in diet and other aspects. The third type of diabetes is gestational diabetes, which occurs during pregnancy. This gestational diabetes might disappear after delivery or it may sustain in the person involved. The fourth category is special type of diabetes, which is caused by monogenic diabetes syndromes, diseases of exocrine pancreas, and finally the drug or chemical induced diabetes is seen. There are different staging of type 1 diabetes. The stage 1 and stage 2 are not showing any clinical symptoms, whereas the third stage starts showing the symptom because there is onset of hyperglycemia. In stage 2, we only have abnormal sugar level where your fasting plasma glucose level and 2 hours plasma glucose level is modified. In the third stage, we have clinical symptoms which are characteristic of type 1 which is expressed. This can be tested whether by usual or routine health screening results. Like if your sugar level is within the limits, it's fine. If it is beyond the normal level or whether the sugar level is abnormal, then you have to meet the doctor so that you can control the disease in the beginning itself. Glucose level of a person is tested using glucometer as shown in the top figure or by venipuncture method which is done in the clinical testing labs. When you are using glucometer has a meter which will be reading the level of sugar. You have a needle for pricking your finger so that blood can be taken, and you have a box with strips. These strips have sensors which are recognized, and that will be sensing the amount of glucose in the blood. So what we do here is we wipe the fingertip clean and then we prick the finger. Before pricking the finger, the strip has to be put in the equipment. So here is the space for putting. So the same way here it is shown here. And after pricking, the first drop of blood has to be wiped off and the second drop is placed on the strip. The strip will absorb the blood and it is sensed by the equipment and it will give the reading for the amount of glucose present in the blood. The amount of sugar that you observe is a peripheral glucose level, and if you want to know the exact level of glucose, we go for venipuncture and clinical testings. In pre-diabetic condition, the fasting plasma glucose level is around 100 to 125 milligram per deciliter and 2-hour plasma glucose level is 140 to 199 milligram per deciliter. And the hemoglobin A1C, which is a reading for the level of glucose over a period of 3 months must be around 5.7 to 6.4. If you can identify in pre-diabetes stage, controlling of the diabetes is very easy. This slide shows the modified diagnostic criteria for diabetes. If you are declared diabetic when you have fasting plasma glucose as more than or equal to 7.0 millimole per liter or 126 milligram per deciliter, or if you have 200 milligram per deciliter of 2-hour plasma glucose value or a HbA1c value above 6.5%, or a random plasma glucose level of more than 200 mg per deciliter, then you are categorized under diabetic condition. Suppose if you have less than this value or 126 milligram per deciliter or between 140 to 200 mg per deciliter, then you have been reported to have impaired glucose tolerance. These are the standard or typical symptoms which we observe in patients with type 1 diabetes. The first major symptom is excessive thirst. They are also having blurred vision, bedwetting problems, frequent urination or mixed urination. Then you have lack of energy and fatigueness, and they have constant hunger and sudden weight loss. People who have these symptoms of diabetes are supposed to take food items at regular intervals so that they are replenished with energy on a continuous basis. Diabetes also involves multiple organs. The effect is seen with reference to various organs like kidneys, oral health, eyes, heart, limbs, as well as pregnancy. So, various symptoms and complications associated with diabetes are skin infections, diabetic retinopathy, where your vision is affected. We have heart damage and arteriosclerosis, where you have deposition of fats in your blood vessel. Then you have permanent kidney damage, and you have large fatty liver, where your excess glucose is converted into fat. And we also observe osteoporosis or weakness of bone in the case of diabetic patients. Oral health is affected by diabetes and many people suffer from gum problems and bleeding problems. This picture shows the picture of diabetic retinopathy where your vision is affected. This picture shows diabetic gangrene. Gangrene is a condition where your tissues are wasted and become dead because of loss of sensation. Criteria for testing the type 2 diabetes mellitus includes the following: overweight and any two criteria shown here, family history, race or ethnicity, signs of insulin resistance, and maternal history of diabetes or gestational diabetes mellitus. The second causes age of initiation, that is 10 years, or onset of puberty. And we must have proper checking of sugar level for every 3 years, and we must also test the level of fasting plasma glucose, hemoglobin A1C level, and others. This slide shows you about testing the presence of type 2 diabetes. Suppose if you are having a score which is higher as per this table, then you can go for testing in lab so that you can confirm whether you have type 2 diabetes. This slide shows where a relation between height and weight of a person, the age, the sex, the siblings who are affected in other aspects. So if your score is above 5, then you have the risk of developing type 2 diabetes, and so you can test in their labs. Shows how to prevent diabetes related morbidity and mortality. This can be achieved by setting goals like self-management, treating the multiple targets of hemoglobin A1C level, blood pressure, lipids, body weight, etc. And also have proper medical and psychobehavioral support. For this, we need a register of the patients, then risk assessment, risk stratification or classification, what category they belong to, review them and give proper control mechanisms. This should be done at individual level and at population level, where we do population based surveys, as well as we have to collect data from hospital so that administrative based decision making and policy implementation can be done, so that morbidity and mortality caused because of diabetes can be reduced. We have three ABCs of diabetes management. A stands for diet and exercise. B is the oral hypoglycemic therapy or oral drugs that you administer. And third one, C, is insulin therapy. First one, diet and exercise. A person who is suffering from diabetes is supposed to have proper diet which is balanced, and they must have a low level of carbohydrate so that they can have good control over the glucose level. These people must have food of required quantity in smaller servings rather than having multiple large servings. They must also do proper exercise so that the metabolism is regulated, and both proper diet and exercise together in coordination can help you to maintain your glucose level so that your health is maintained. The second one is oral hypoglycemic therapy, that is administration of drugs. Drugs belongs to various category as shown here. We have biguanides, sulfonylureas, meglitinides and others. So each one has different way of action. So the most common that we use is metformin and its combinations, which inhibit glucose production by the liver, and sulfonylureas and meglitinides both act by increasing the insulin secretion by pancreatic beta cells. The last category, alpha glucosidase inhibitors, inhibit the carbohydrate absorption in the small intestine. When the absorption of glucose level is reduced, automatically your blood glucose level can also be reduced. Depending on the type of disease, or depending on the type of condition that is available, the drug is chosen. The third one is insulin therapy, where we give injections of insulin. So this bottle shows the insulin drug, and we can administer them by using different methods. The first one is insulin syringe, where we can take the required amount and inject by ourselves. We have insulin pen, jet injector, and insulin pump. The amount of drug that has been punched into the body each time can be fixed in these instruments so that the required amount can be injected into the body. There are specific sites where we have to inject this insulin, otherwise it may not produce an effect. So here the major site is abdomen, followed by thighs and arms, which is seen from the front side. And if you see the back side, we have the thighs and the region back of the chest region. Only in these regions, if you inject, your insulin is going to produce an effect. If not, they might not produce any effect. Now we have seen about what is diabetes, cause for diabetes, types of diabetes, and the management of diabetes. So education is the key for any disease which has to be controlled. Diabetes awareness is very important, where we have to bring this idea of what is the disease, how it is caused, symptoms, and method of management and treatment. If we are able to tell to everyone, we can control this disease. The choice is yours. Each person has to decide by themselves whether they'll have healthy food and exercise to maintain their good health, or end up with medicine so that their health is affected. So think wisely, eat responsibly, exercise regularly, and maintain a good health. These are the references that I have taken for this presentation. Thank you.